Many Salesforce customers just wrapped up their renewal negotiations, tying into Salesforce's year end, which was January 31st. Many of those customers had challenging discussions. A lot of them are centered around what more can the customer do for Salesforce, and most specifically, how much Agentforce can you adopt? Can you add into your renewal? What about Data Cloud? What about both? Here's this amazing deal we can give you if you give us what we want. Now, many customers, especially the ones we worked with, were primarily also focused on, and perhaps more so, on how can I get more out of what I already have? Now, Salesforce obviously doesn't want to have the conversations focused there, which is understandable, right? Sales reps, they're a publicly traded company. They need to drive revenue. They need to drive ACV growth. And they certainly need to get AI adoption, right? If you think about how Benioff is positioned, the importance of Agentforce, he's talked about the amount of customers that they're going to close. He talked about in December, they have over 1,000 deals that are going to be coming in. They're hiring and actually laying off resources, but also hiring resources, all focused on selling AI. So of course, Salesforce, for those customers that just renewed, and for customers that have renewals coming up or even downstream in-term purchases, are going to be very much focused on Agentforce, Agentforce, Agentforce. So here's the thing. If customers do this the right way, it's an opportunity, right? They need this, so take advantage of that need. Similar to Microsoft with Copilot. So Agentforce also is incredibly important to Salesforce because of the metric. Right? Brian Milham, President, Chief Operating Officer, late last year, I think it was in December, was at the Barclays conference, and he talked about the consumption-based model, right? He talked about the fact that there's an opportunity there to continue to expand. So it's not just headcount that will allow them to drive their ACV, the annual contract value up, revenue up. It's also the consumption model. Right? So if you think about Agentforce, let's take a step back. It's based on the number of conversations, okay? So the pricing is based on the number of conversations. So it's $2 list price per conversation. That seems pretty expensive. And if you start to think about it, and you think about the number of conversations and how quickly you can start blowing through certain thresholds, that becomes even more expensive downstream, and Salesforce knows that. On top of this, what is a conversation, right? And if you go to their website, an Agentforce service conversation is when a customer sends at least one message or selects at least one menu option or choice other than end chat button within a 24-hour period. So all I would tell you is make sure you focus on transparency. Make sure you understand that besides the pricing. In terms of the pricing, you definitely need to be pushing for some discounting. You need to drive that cost down. You also should be looking for volume discount structures. I mean, on their website, they have a little line that they're available, talk to your AE. Volume discount structures, there's a couple things. Number one, is it a relevant threshold, right? So make sure they're relevant thresholds. So it doesn't mean you have to clip some astronomical number to start getting the benefit of it. Make sure your base price is right. Make sure you have renewal protections, right? What happens once you blow through, but also what happens at renewal, right? These are all critical things. This is nothing new. Make sure that you are getting the right deal from Salesforce for all the other things you've already been paying for, right? So your Service Cloud subscription cost. And that's obviously an area where Salesforce has been focused right out of the gate because, as Milham and others within Salesforce, including Benioff, noted, this is the area, Service Cloud, service agents, where a conversation consumption-based model could prove easier, less friction to sell that ROI, right? But they're going to move beyond just Service Cloud. They're going to move even perhaps beyond conversation-based, consumption-based pricing. I mean, Milham during the Barclays conference talked about there's going to be a wider spread across their platform. It's not going to necessarily be conversation-based. So customers out there that are having these conversations with Salesforce, ask about that. What did he mean by that? What things are being discussed behind the scenes? What do I need to know? Because if I'm going to go down this path with you, even just early stage understanding conversations, I need to figure that out too, right? So the ROI, what happens if it's not hit, productivity, efficiency improvements, what happens if they're not met, pricing, volume discount structures, definitions, transparency, and what's going on behind the scenes? How are things potentially going to change? And what does that mean for me? Is my metric going to change? Am I going to have different cost profiles that I'm not aware of? Regardless, customers need to get ahead of this. On top of it, I mentioned a minute ago, this is not going to just be about Agentforce. Salesforce is also going to tether Data Cloud to that. Okay, so the whole point is your AI offering, right? Your AI solution, whether it's Salesforce or others, the value is going to be the data that's within it. And that's their pitch. So Salesforce is not going to just be coming at you for Agentforce, they're going to be coming at you for Data Cloud as well. You have to understand that if done correctly, this could be an opportunity. But if you don't do it correctly, if you don't spend the proper amount of time, if you get enticed by some shiny discount, if they access C-suite individuals and sell them on the potential, if you don't have a unified message that comes back to Salesforce and says, hey, look, we get it. We're thinking about this. We could jump aboard, which we know you want, but we need these things first. If that is not the way it's orchestrated, customers are going to leave a lot on the table, but more importantly, they are going to be in for a big surprise 9 months, 1 year, 2 years from now. Because trust me when I tell you, Salesforce, just like other vendors, are very aware of what's happening. The consumption-based model tied to AI solutions is going to drive future opportunity, which they're communicating to the market, the investment community, that may have a shorter term implication of not a significant spike in revenue, but will make up for it later. Don't let you be the customer that they come to make up for an extreme way. Get ahead of it, get commitments, and plan appropriately.